Go back to the actual start of the lap because up here on Camel was actually quite insane as well. I was ready to go down the middle, but then he cut across. It wasn't actually that intense.
Yeah, I realised that I realised that right at the end when I made the mistake. That's why I apologised.
This Craig guy sounds a lot like Gamer Muscle. Oh, it was Dan Suzuki kill. So when I said let's not kill any famous people, I was spot on.
I made a mistake.
I thought I could slot down the inside here, but I didn't have it, so I backed off.
I think it's because I was pressing my mic at the time.
Got on the
what were you
exit.
doing?
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, no, it's like it's okay because I ended up still winning the race and I didn't crash out. But
I don't know where he thought he was going to go, to be honest.
I wouldn't be so forgiving if that makes sense. Just be more careful.
Yeah, well, I was happy to go off track. I thought I was going off track, but you washed out further than I thought. And to be fair,
outside, I definitely left him enough room.
I'm typically a GT3 driver, and what I do when I drive on that is I compromise. So a little bit of compromisation, knowing someone was on your right-hand side, would have been really, really helpful in situations like that.
Sorry, it's my fault. Fair enough.
I take responsibility, but there's also equal responsibility from your side because I was literally virtually off track. But you still watched out to the side. So I get that the GT3 has minimal aero, but there's also a level of compromisation which never happened in that situation.
Compromisation? I don't think that's a word.
Yeah, but I understand.
Is compromisation a word?
Speed, right? But as I'm turning into the corner, you are 3 car lengths back. You were never alongside me at any point, and you literally just hit the back of me. So like,
let me have a little look now.
Wait, what lap is this? Where?
If you go to my drive avatar, it's lap 11 in
11.
Blanchimont.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now. Oh man, like let's be real about this. Let's look at your car.
Let's look at your car.
You come off the curb, so you made a mistake in. Oh man, I hate it when this happens because now it changes everything. So you made a mistake. You hit the curb. And that washed you out to the side. That's under no obligation for me to take that kind of thing into consideration. You hit the curb, which washed your car out ever so slightly, which would have left me space to go around the outside. I actually remember it in my brain. So, like, I think there's a little bit of, like, unfairness being pointed at me here because, like, you hit the curb and you washed out slightly.
Nah, Craig, man, it's definitely all you. I'm sorry.
Craig? You sound like a really nice guy, okay? And I'm just going to say, because like I've done this type of stuff in real life, the LMP2 would be at fault. And I don't mean that. I know you had no bad intentions whatsoever. You're a really nice guy.
Kind.
But I'm just telling you that is your fault.
Hey,
it doesn't matter if I hit the curb or whatever. I'm taking the most predictable GT3 racing line there is. And unfortunate that it's happened. Fortunately, we have carried on.
Such a fan of this.
That is just your fault.
I don't know how much of this is like passive aggressive.
You said you took the predictable. You did take the predictable line, but then the car hit the curb, which pushed it to the right, which then made your car unpredictable. Is that not?
Craig. Let me stop you there. If I hit the curb, I'm going to go wider, right? But the GT3's already run out to the curb because, like we said, we've got the minimal aero. You guys have got so much aero.
What happened?
Great. Let me stop you there. If I've hit the curb and I'm going wider, then I'm taking the most normal racing line anyway because the GT3s are on the exit curb every single lap. You know, if you've done GT3 at like a decent level, you would know that you use the exit curb every single lap. And that's where I was going. So if you're that far back, you would probably wait a little bit and then cut underneath me, so you're on the left-hand side of me, as opposed to using up all the circuit on the right-hand side, which doesn't exist. Jason, it's lap 11 through Blanchimont. If you press my drive avatar.
Listen, I'm not denying that I wasn't at fault. At no point have I said this isn't my fault. I'm just saying in this situation, I was prepared to go off track. You hit the curb, bringing it out further to the right-hand side than I was anticipating. That's why I've said my mistake. I've already actually said that this is my mistake. But in the actual situation, I was prepared to go off track slightly, which I was heading off track. You hit the curve and come out slightly further to the right, and it put you into me. So it's always going to be on my fault, absolutely. But in the circumstance, I wasn't expecting to come so far over to the right, which is my justification. I will typically still tend to go for a move like that in the future, because 8 times out of 10 that move pulls off. Just on this occasion, it didn't.
Greg, to be honest, you're on the racing line still, mate, when contact's made, so it's not really around the outside. Just my 2 cents is a little lift and go on the inside after the apex.
If you were on my outside, around the apex of the corner, so you were actually alongside me, then I would have no choice but to give you room. But if you want to make that move 10 out of 10 times every time, don't take the off track and go wide. Just lift off throttle for a little bit and cut back underneath. And then the GT3 will just give you the racing line going into the last chicane, and it will cost you a tenth, maybe half a tenth, as opposed to massive amounts of damage.
Well, I didn't have massive amounts of damage. I only gently touched you.
I mean, I braked too late. I didn't brake too late, actually. I'm braking mega early.
Absolutely, and I hear what you're saying.
Just didn't really expect this mega checkup.
Let's get this absolutely clear. I hear what you guys are saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm telling you my situation
very
in that
early,
moment.
but I should have anticipated that.
When I'm looking at my car right now, I'm trying to go back to the actual when I was in the situation.
I normally brake like
if you look at my car on the apex, I'm still a car
later,
off
so I
the
thought that
apex.
was enough.
So under my mentality is I'm actually giving you space, thinking that you would still stick tighter to the inside, which is what I thought. And I was prepared to go off and put my left tyres onto the yellow and red, which I was prepared to do, to go for the compromise. It went wrong, and I hear you diving into the left-hand side, but I would have lost more time on the guy ahead, which is just ahead of you, by doing that, and I was in a race situation where you weren't. You had 3.5 seconds gap. You could have sacrificed more, but no, it cost me more when I could have just stuck to the outside, and you could have just literally, a small, tiny 5% lift-off would have given you oversteer, which would have brought you onto the inside. I'm a GT3 racer. That's what my build. I've got up to nearly 4K in. I'm now 2.8K because I drive the LMP2s. So, I understand the logistics of racing, but in this case, it just all went wrong because it was just such a finite moment. And I apologise.
I fully accept your apology, mate. That's no problem. And I understand your thought process going through it, but I'm just telling you that thought process needs to be reworked a little bit for future races. Otherwise, the incident is going to happen again. I can't go any tighter. I've got so much rake on the car that if I lift off, I'm going to spin into the wall on the left-hand side. Or if I have a little bit of a slide and overcorrect, I'm crashing into you. So then I'll both races on wreck. And so, you've just got to think of it as giving up a tenth to save your, potentially save your race. This could have actually been a lot worse. But yeah, at no point were you sort of alongside, so you just have to, really not go for that in the future. That's all I'll say, mate, because you may not have had too much damage. I had a lot of damage and somehow still managed to win the fucking race.
Fair enough. I guess from my perspective, every time I take the inside, I lose way too much time, and every time I take the wide, I get the incident point. But again, and I pull on the car ahead, so it's probably not likely that I'm going to change that. I'm going to be honest, because it just works more often than not. It's, for me, numbers game. So just bear in mind when you see me on track in the future, just bear in mind that move will possibly come. And to be fair, your snap oversteer won't come from lifting 10% off the throttle. It will come from lifting more than 50% off the throttle. So driver skill as well.
Craig, I promise you, with the setup I have on the car, with what I'm trying to achieve and go quick, having done this in real life, I can promise you, having even the smallest amount of lift to bring the aero to the front of the car where the rear is already light will send me straight into the wall. And please don't do that move again to anybody, please, because you are just going to have more accidents like this. And like some people won't take it as well as I'm taking it. Please, Craig, just alter what you are doing. Because yes, it's a numbers game and da-da-da-da, but there's still a very big chance that this is going to happen and potentially ruin our race. Or there's a 100% chance that you're not going to crash if you take the inside. Because the job is of the faster car to overtake the slower car in a safer manner. And the GT3, or the slower car rather, must stay predictable. That is just how it works.
Yeah.
Craig, can I just say before you go on a massive episode, can you just Google who Thomas is, please?
What's that, Dario? Sorry?
I'm just asking if Craig, before he goes on another episode, if you can Google who you are.
I honestly, don't take this the wrong way, but I really couldn't give a shit if you're fucking anybody really, like anyone, Valentino or anybody. Like I come from an engineering family. I understand physics and understand like race mentality. So I've also done it in real life. It's not as successful because I don't have the money back in. But listen, I get what you are saying, but in 9 times out of 10, and you'll realise this from racing in real life, is you're to try and always play the percentage. And if the percentage of this works, 9 times out of 10, if you've got another driver around that has equal amount of respect for you without looking at an iRacing number and thinking that because they're higher, they think they're better, so then they can dominate, then there's no level of compromise. You'll understand that you guys in real life have a level of respect for each other, so there's always going to be a compromise allowing for you to make those higher percentage moves. Okay, it doesn't work in iRacing so much. However, I'm very well aware that you have to make the move that plays the higher numbers. And yes, this one made a mistake in it and it hurt you, but that's not the game. The race is to go as fast as possible all the time. And your way, yes, it helps you out because it doesn't cost you any time, but it costs me massive amounts of time. So I'm always going to push for the compromise because that's faster.
Sorry.
Craig. I honestly have no idea what to say because
This is the incident.
I mean, I think, the people who are still in here would agree with me, but I'm just trying to tell you how this racing round this corner works. I had so many people, right? I had so many people overtake me at this corner, and if they were alongside or, close enough to me, they would go up the inside of Blanchimont and I would lift before the corner, or they would just wait and take the inside out on the exit, okay? Please.
Listen, I don't think you guys are completely understanding my point here because everyone's on the defence. I'm not arguing that I didn't make a mistake. The argument now is different. My mentality. Like, I don't, let's just get the facts here. People saying, I'm not listening to you. I am listening to you. Next time what I will do is I'll go wider. And I know what I will do, but I'm not letting off that much to cut on the inside of you in a situation like that. It's just not going to happen. It's not faster. Like, I'm not being disrespectful in any way, shape or form. I've not been derogatory. I've not been offensive. I've not been rude. I'm just telling you the situation here. I made a mistake. I'm not denying that. I profusely apologise. But my mentality in terms of what I aim to do won't change. Because more often than not, it makes me faster than everybody around me.
P1 LMP2?
Craig, this is just one instance in a 45-minute race, okay? 0.2 is not going to make that much of a difference. And I have no disrespect whatsoever, okay? There will be probably more time, and this is just like, this is the same for everybody. This is the same for everybody. But there was probably more than 0.2 per lap in everybody's driving, all right, to improve than there is on just, gun-hoing it. So, like, what did we do? 22 laps there, for example. If you found 0.2, right, per lap in improving your driving, you would find 4.4 seconds, which would mean that these 0.2 or 2-3 that you lose means nothing in the grand scheme of things, okay? This is just how endurance racing works, and you genuinely need to change your mentality, because otherwise this is going to happen again. And therefore you're not sorry because you realise that is going to happen again. Now I appreciate you not being derogatory or rude or anything like that, but it's just this is how it is, and you just have to accept that and change. Because if you do the exact same thing again, like, somebody would probably ban you for repeat offences of this type of stuff. And I don't want to see that. I really don't.
Whatever. Okay, Karen, that's not possible because this is racing. You see this kind of stuff happen in real life often from the same guy. So good luck on that, chap. But like in terms of actual racing, I appreciate what you're saying, and I will do things slightly differently.
Darren,
Next time I'll move further to the right, allowing the driver on the inside more space. But look, let's just beg to differ here. Like, I appreciate your 8.1K. I absolutely appreciate that. But at the same time, I've only just started this game. So like, I've been racing for a little while. My iRacing doesn't fully reflect my skill set. So I'll take my chances. But yeah, that was a poor move. It was my fault, and I accept responsibility for that. Have a lovely afternoon, guys.
Yeah, you have a great afternoon as well, Craig. I don't know what was so funny, but yeah.
The statement about being banned from repeat offences. Right? What could constantly ban people from repeat offences when they're racing in other races, are you? And they can't consistently make the same mistakes. Get over yourself.
Okay, Craig. Well, it seems that you are of no knowledge. Oh, there he goes.
No, just in time. No, oh no. No, the server disconnected us. That was perfection. Mate, that was so good. That